We are officially live on DentonRadio.com right now. We're happy to have everybody with us. If you're wondering who these two gentlemen are just sitting here quietly, don't worry. You will know that soon enough. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you are as excited as I am for this lovely, lovely evening we have here after today's torrential downpour, or yesterday's torrential downpour. Baseball-sized hail, that's always fun. I'm going to go ahead and close out of my Facebook so we don't have to hear my messenger popping off during an interview because that's not professional. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and unmute y'all right now because I think it's time to get the interview underway.
Excellent.
Bam. There we are. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to DentonRadio.com. This program is called Sound Values. We are excited to have y'all with us right here in the Discover Denton Welcome Center here at the lovely square. It is going to be a absolutely not only beautiful day, but beautiful interview as well. So, guys, I want y'all to go ahead and do me a favor, and I want y'all to introduce yourselves, all right? I'm going to turn you guys up just a little bit so that people can hear y'all a little bit better. But go ahead and do me a favor and introduce yourselves, each of you.
My name is Will Niffen, and I sing and play guitar in Soul Patrol, and for one last time, Jambunctious.
There we go. And the other guy.
I am Leland Rooney.
Leland Rooney.
I'm a Dentonite,
Dentonite?
professional guitar player, also a guitar player in Jambunctious, as well as
Nice.
many other groups.
That's what I like. That's what I like to hear, guys. That's really cool. Fantastic. So let's see. So we've got Leland Rooney, we got Will Niffen, and we've got a professional guitar player. So I have to ask right away, what separates a professional from a not professional?
I don't have any other job
They-
besides playing guitar for a living.
Well, there we go. That's what I was wondering.
I can't say that yet. I have two other jobs.
Exactly.
besides
Yes, me
playing
might
music.
as well.
Yeah.
I need the other two to support
Yeah,
that one. So
exactly.
very cool. That's what I was going to say. So I'll definitely have some questions about that and what that's like and the experience of developing that and the time that it takes. So my first question, actually, we're going to start. And once again, if you're just tuning in, thank you for tuning in to DentonRadio.com. Every single Monday from 7 to 8, we bring in a different musician, local musicians, and we talk to them about life, love, stress, setbacks, and, of course, snacks. That's what we end every show with is we talk snacks, gentlemen, and that is a fantastic thing. So the first question that I'm going to go to is going to be for you, Leland, because Will's been on the show before, so he's heard a few of these questions. But I want one that I always like to start with as somebody who is a professional guitarist. Obviously, I don't even have to know you're knowledgeable of your craft. What is one of your first musical memories, where you heard music that made you move as a kid,
Well, it's funny. I don't come from a musical family.
Okay.
But when my father, he went to college while I was still a kid,
Okay.
and he used to have a thing called guitar nights. And my parents had me.
Is it KNIGHTS?
I wish.
Yeah, I was like, yes.
It was like a short scale guitar my parents bought me, and he'd have
Nice.
his friends come over and they'd play songs, play chords or whatever. And I remember being 5, 6 years old and just not playing anything, but just feeling like I was a part of it.
Yeah, for sure.
That was the beginning of it for me, for sure. I didn't even realize, but definitely
That's
was.
pretty good. And how old did you say you were?
I'm about 5, 6
About
years
5
old.
or 6 years old.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
And how old are you now?
I'm 23.
23. Okay, wow. So that's, we're talking 18 years ago, basically.
Mhm.
That's very cool, man. Right on. And so, Will, just in case people, didn't see our first interview, which I don't know why you didn't. That's just rude. What is one of your first musical memories, man?
A lot like his, actually. There was this old beat-up, out-of-tune guitar, and I would just try and come up with little songs and melodies on it.
Yeah.
And I don't remember any of them. I'm not sure that I remember them the next day after I did it, but I remember doing that a lot, and my sister and my brother and my dad all singing and being, playing music around the house.
Yeah.
I think that's what started it.
For sure. Mine was, I heard my parents were watching Garth Brooks' America tour.
Yeah?
Yeah, and
That'll
man,
get you going.
I was obsessed
Yeah.
right away. That song Rodeo had me going.
You'll be
So-
throwing water on people
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, everybody's got that different way that they've started, when they heard music, and we all kind of have that memory, But I have friends who, my best friend, his mom is like, I don't really like music. I'm like, you must go. Show your way out. So we'll start over here. Another question that I have for you, Leland, is when was it, because your dad kind of starts you with playing the guitar and all that stuff. You're having those guitar nights, When was it you were kind of like, hey, I really, really like this, and I want to start doing this even more. Not just being the kid who's trying to, be cool with the older folks and the parents, but when were you like, hey, this is something that I really, really like and I want to pursue?
Yeah, about 5th grade.
Fifth grade.
At my school, you had that point where you had to pick an instrument, right? They took you in a room.
Yeah.
You had to hold all the instruments, and
they told you what your destiny was.
and I found the cello,
nice.
and very quickly moved to upright bass. And so that was my passion. That's what I wanted to go to school for. That's all I wanted to do. And I picked up guitar as a hobby. And it honestly was the Violent Femmes.
Yeah.
Blister in the Sun record that got
Nice.
me into playing guitar. Funny enough, as a kid in middle school.
So basically you're like one of those guys that Bill Belichick finds who played lacrosse forever but happens to be an amazing wide receiver all at the same time.
Right.
But I just played football in the off season. You
Yeah,
know.
just for fun.
I get it. So you are the Bill Belichick of Jambunctious, and this is your lacrosse player who now plays football.
Hey,
I
I'll
do wear a
take it.
lot of sleeveless shirts. I do wear a lot of sleeveless shirts.
It's true. It's true. So and I'll kind of let you guys maybe debate this. When and how did y'all first meet?
My ex-girlfriend actually introduced us. She was friends with one of
My
yeah, his
ex-girlfriend?
ex-girlfriend.
Whoa.
And
Thanks, ex-girlfriends.
yeah, thanks, ex-girlfriends. And we went over and hung out, and they were having some people over to play music, and I told them about Jambunctious. I've been doing it for a while, but this is before he joined in.
Mm-hmm.
And we started playing some tunes, and we started hanging out more after that and playing more music, and that just kind of steamrolled it from there. We've done a few other projects since then.
Cool.
And I don't know. I always somehow luck out with like finding just stupid good guitar players.
Shout out to Kabir Lika.
Yeah, Kabir Lika of
Yeah.
Soul Patrol.
Shout out to
There's a
Kabir.
guy here named Joe James who says bring some snacks to rehearsal.
Bring some snacks
So,
to rehearsal.
Yeah, I've got some cheese puffs in the back. Y'all
Shout
can
out
take
to
with
Joe
you
as
when you
well.
go. So y'all met, and this was obviously not the first band that you had ever been in. You said you played in school band. Before you went into the school band, had you played in anything before that? Or
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I'm from Michigan, actually.
Okay.
And so while I was there, I played double bass, and I had a band called Tapioca SG, of all names. We wrote some very weird, angsty preteen punk rock fusion stuff. And when I moved to Texas, right before I started high school, my high school didn't have an orchestra.
Oh wow.
And I either could have joined a community orchestra and rented an instrument and done it that way, or played guitar. And I decided to put all those eggs in that basket and
Where did you move to in Texas?
Wiley, Texas.
Wiley, Texas.
Class of 2011. If anybody from Wiley's watching.
Yeah.
I gotta admit, I think the world was given a disservice by Tapioca SG not being able to see its full potential.
Absolutely.
Like,
I think we need a Tapioca SG reunion.
You're
too.
Yeah.
right. It's about time.
Yeah.
It's about
That's all I'm
time.
saying. We'll call the guys up in
Tapioca
Michigan.
SG shirts up here for sale.
Yeah, exactly. I just
Coasters.
like that name, Tapioca SG. I don't know what the SG is. I'm just gonna say so good. Like tapioca, so
good.
We didn't know either. We just sounded good.
So when you moved to Texas, you started playing in the community, in kind of a community band, basically.
I started playing in bars.
Okay.
Basically,
Nice.
about a year before I got my driver's license, my parents had to drive me to gigs, and then once I got my driver's license, playing blues bars and honky tonks, playing country music.
Nice.
That's where I cut
anywhere
my
that
teeth.
they would. Yeah, very cool. Very cool, man. And so, Will, back at you. So we have Jambunctious, right? This. When did you kind of? Because you told him about Jambunctious, right?
Yeah.
When did the idea of Jambunctious come about for you? And what is Jambunctious?
It's a good question. Jambunctious was this, me and some friends, when I first moved to Denton, started playing music together. And a lot of it early on was just based on songs that I had written. I had gotten into funk and hip-hop and soul music and
sure.
like Afrobeat and things like that, and I kind of wanted to try my hand at that. So
Yeah.
I started writing funk and, like, goofy tunes, like
Very cool,
funkadelic-style tunes. And
Very cool.
And it just kind of steamrolled from there. We had a lot of different members throughout the years, but the final iteration of Jambunctious, of course, is Leland, Brandon Broussard, Dewey Rykowski, and now it's Joe James.
Shout out to Dewey. I'm sorry you can't be here, bro.
Yeah.
But you're the man. We all know it, right?
Here in spirit.
right?
You're here in spirit.
Yeah, I met Dewey because we started playing. We played in a band for a little bit, and then we both ended up leaving that. And now I just hang out with him
Yeah.
because he was such a cool,
Always
down
a
to
good
earth
hang.
guy.
Always a good
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'll be like, hey man, what are you doing tonight?
He's remained one of my closest friends.
He really is one of my favorite people.
May I
man.
ask what that group is called?
Oh, it was called Wax Logic.
Wax Logic.
Yeah, and they're still around.
Yeah.
It's just different people have been in and out of that group. And like I had my own music going on, and it was just I was student teaching at the time, and I had no time to make practice at all.
Yeah.
So I felt bad going to play shows when I'm not even there to legitimize a reason to actually be playing with this group of people.
I think a lot of really good bands have like revolving members though. There's a lot of bands around town, especially in Denton, that have like just movable pieces. Like, oh, I can't make this gig, but this guy can do it.
One of the only bands that I know of who like has the same people and has for 7 years are Biographies. They've had the same people for going on now 7 years, and they started the band in high school. And so what they did is they always said that Wednesday, no matter what, we will never work on a Wednesday. You know, we will always have practice on Wednesdays. So those guys have had practice every day on Wednesday for the last 7 years. And that's how they've stayed a band, because they legitimately tell they tell their work schedule. They schedule
impressive.
Everything around. I mean, these, like I told them for my 1 year anniversary of this show, I want all 6 of them from Biographies in this room, which is apparently an imsibility, but I will do my best.
I mean, we tried to get rehearsals together for this, and it's been harder. It's like trying to like solve a cryptex.
Yeah.
Like who can be here?
It's
like
a Dan Brown novel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, Dan Brown references. I love it. So, Leland, I do have a question, because he said he started writing funk tunes. Now, I have no idea what a G from a C from a D from an F, whatever is. You know, a lot of my music is sample based, and I can do some original stuff, and I can play instruments. But when he says he's writing funk, where do you start at a root note or something of that sort to start writing funk music?
I think you just have to have a melody in your head. Like for him, like if you play something at him, he'll just like, oh yeah, and you're doing this, and he'll just blow your mind like right in front of you. Like, oh yeah, I can see what you're doing right there. And so I think for him, it just comes naturally now. He's played so much funk that he just hears it and he goes and he latches onto it and he gets in the pocket.
Yeah, usually it's about the riff, you know, whatever's driving the tune, the riff. And as far as Jambunctious is concerned, it's usually been about what is the hook going to be? What are we going to say in the chorus? You know, or usually what are we going to scream in the chorus?
With any genre though, I think like a lot of it has to come from a melodic idea, or even just like a one little hook, or like a lyric or something just you want to say.
Yeah.
It all has to kind of come from there. And if you want to write songs about like aliens and like touching butts and stuff like that, then you might want to start with funk music.
Yeah.
Because a lot of that
you got all that.
really pliable.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So if you're writing about aliens and that kind of thing, man, you know, just include you got funk music right there.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you need.
It makes sense. And the reason I ask is because being someone who doesn't know what he's doing, but when I play, you know, it's, you know, people are like, okay, yes, this makes sense. But something that I struggle with is when I'm like, okay, I don't want to make something that sounds jazzy or this or that. You sit down and I try to play something that sounds funky. I have so much difficulty getting that fourth chord to match with the first 3.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, this works, because it's those 4 bars that I'm trying to get to be like, okay, now it mathematically when musically makes sense. That's where I'm always struggling, man. So that's why I had to ask that question, because me and my buddies have discussed that back and forth, because we're not classically trained or trained whatsoever, but we love to jam and play together, you know. But we're just winging it. So I was curious if there is anything, but now I know that it's not just me. You know?
Well, no, definitely. Like there's times we'll play a tune and like, oh, we're going to the 5 in this, and I'll have to ask what key we're in, and then like B, C, D.
let me do the alphabet.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Carry the 1.
You're right, though. It's easy to come up with an idea and gain momentum. It's about that turnaround or making those corners neat.
Yeah. How do you continue with an idea and keep it fresh and new to the listener, but also so that you who plays it doesn't get bored and it's not cheesy in the way too. You know, there's that ability to maintain integrity within your music, but at the same time make it palatable for the normal listener.
And I know what you mean about like trying to find like the right chord, because if I hear something in my head, like I'm unwilling to compromise of what I want it to sound like. Well, you're waving at folks?
Yeah. I think that was Betty. Betty cool. Betty real cool.
All right, cool. Good. Good.
Yeah. Dude, people
Betty,
will come
if you're
by,
out there listening,
people will come by and do
cool.
all kinds of stuff. Like last time we were here, there's this guy with his vape just like I was like, dude, no one thinks you're cool, bro.
Everyone stop.
Yeah.
We have urgent news.
Look what we have here. And
Speaking of street people, I saw Bone Doggy right there. Shout out to Bone Doggy. Bone Doggy just creeped into LSA.
He just walked in. He's been hanging out outside.
I had to pull my microphone away. You made me laugh so hard.
Speaking of street people.
Man.
Oh, no. I'm not calling Bone Doggy a street person. No way.
Although
That's what it sounds like you're implying.
Although he might get confused from time to time for that, you know. But then he tips you 75% at the bar and everything's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So shout out to Bone Doggy and the H Razors. You know,
The H Razors.
Yeah. You know, you got
The heck razors.
Yeah, the heck razors. Thank you. Exactly. You know. So when did y'all first get together to start working on Jambunctious? Because it was, was it already a band when you approached him?
It was already a band.
Okay.
And we actually brought him on to play bass.
Yeah,
I
because
came in audition. I remember the
Yeah.
first
Yeah,
day.
that was
I came
your
in audition at
that's
Dewey's house.
your weapon of choice is bass. Okay.
And I was a professional guitar player, but they needed a bass player, and I was like, all right, I'll hold down the bass spot.
Yeah, for
and I
sure.
went and auditioned on bass, and they loved me. And I said, hey, I've got my guitar rig in the car. They had another bass player coming in to audition.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I play guitar while he auditions on bass? And then they were like, oh, okay. We need to have you on guitar. We don't need you on bass anymore.
It was like the scene in like Princess Bride where like Dread Pirate Roberts like secretly reveals that he actually isn't left-handed and continues the sword fight right-handed. Like,
Yeah.
like he just slam with his left hand and then switches to his right.
Yeah,
and
he's like, one thing you don't
destroys
know is I'm
everybody.
right-handed.
Yeah, one thing you don't know is I play this other thing stupidly good.
Yeah.
But it immediately clicked, and
Yeah.
it was a good fit.
Very cool, man. Where was after he became in the band? When was the first show that you played with them at a venue?
We played at Dance.
We did play at
I
Dance.
still
Oh,
haven't
no,
played
I'm
at that
sorry. I
venue
take
yet.
that back. It was on the roof of Two Charlies.
Really?
That is also probably. You know what? I think you were correct.
We opened up for Soul Patrol.
Oh, yeah.
And then I sat in and played lead guitar with Soul Patrol.
yeah,
that
on Red
evening.
House. Mm-hmm. And I think Voodoo Child too.
Yeah, it was a blast.
So you guys were
Yeah.
like 35% of each band that night,
Uh-huh.
basically. Hi, I'm the same guy from the last band, and I'm up here again.
But I was blown away. That was the first time I saw Soul Patrol that night, and I was blown away.
Yeah.
blown
That's
away.
that's a fun band, man. And I think like that band especially. The more I play with them, the more I like playing with them, and the more creative we're all allowing ourselves to be. And that's a great band to be in. I have to admit, I'm really enjoying.
Yeah, one of the first. I mean, the first time I was going to see you was Octopia of last
Oh, yeah,
year,
and then
then it rained, and
Yeah.
then you guys got to come back and play. And like I had known Will, but I had never heard him sing. I had no idea the pipes that the man has. The way he woos women.
It's just the abnormally large lungs.
Yeah, it's something,
That's
man.
all
I mean,
it is.
you got it going on.
Thank
you know. So you guys had your first show up on top of Two Charlies.
Yeah.
What is one of like your most memorable Jambunctious shows?
I
Maybe-
want to say Haley's.
Yeah, the last show we played at Haley's, man.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace,
Yeah,
Haley's.
what a great room. Sad
Yeah.
to see that go.
And
Yeah.
man, we just filled the place. That was a lot
Filled the
of
place. The band was on. We had some new tunes we were debuting that were just pretty cool.
Nice.
It's a good night.
Was
Yeah.
there anyone else playing with y'all that night?
I'm sure there was.
It was,
But we
what was that? Naughty Professor was on the bill that evening?
That was Naughty Professor, wasn't
From
it?
New Orleans. Shout out to Naughty Professor
yeah.
from New Orleans.
Shout out to Naughty.
How did I forget that? That was awesome. I still have that poster on my wall.
Yeah.
How did I forget that?
You got this guy over here. I had that poster on my wall, actually.
I do.
That's what's up. All right. Very cool, man. Very cool. So you said that you had to come and try out.
Yeah.
Now, I've never done anything like that. What's it like? And like, how did you? I mean, you said you talked to him and everything, but like, what's that like to go try out to be in a band? Are you nervous at all? I mean, like, I mean, for you,
I'm sure you were super used to it.
yeah,
I
it
was
seems,
a little nervous, not gonna lie. Meeting
Well, that's
new
the power of
people. and,
Jambunctious, man.
Yeah.
when
gotta
I
step
think
up
about
to the
that day, I
plate.
remember cruising up Denton Street past the middle school because I lived on Hickory. I remember being in my van, cruising up Denton
Yeah.
Street, being like, "All right, I gotta have my game face on. I gotta be ready for this." Then I got there; it was the most relaxed thing. We had
Psyching
such a
yourself up in the
blast.
car.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what's up, man. So was Dewey originally in the band as well? And
Dewey
he
joined
kinda-
very, very shortly after we started.
Very cool.
He was the original fifth member of
Nice.
the sixth man.
Yeah, yeah, very cool.
Of Jambunctious, and it added a new element to what we wanted to do. And he had a lot more theory and musical knowledge than we did. At
Was
the
he
time.
on the keys?
He was on the keys.
Yeah,
he
God,
plays the
he's
Rhodes.
so good, man.
He's nasty, man.
Yeah.
Dewey is nasty.
The first time that I met him was when I went over to practice with Wax Logic, and I was just like, why am I here? Like, I had a keyboard, and I was like, there's no reason for me to be here with this guy. I don't understand why I just showed up. I'm going to go.
I've had a lot of fun writing songs with Dewey.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite songwriting partners I've ever had.
Yeah.
And I've spent like so many. I can't tell you how many hours I've spent like sitting on my amp like next to him on his Rhodes or on
Yeah.
his Nord or something like that, just sitting there and me and him just like, all right, well, what do you want to say here? Like, all right, got good shampoo from Murray's. Take a bath with you, like, and like, what do we want to say in this lyric right here?
Yes.
And I spent a lot of time within there, and he's still a lot of fun.
Definitely a core part of the sound.
Absolutely.
You and Dewey, Will and Dewey are a core part of the band.
I would, yeah. I mean, like I said, when the first time I saw Dewey play the Rhodes, I was like, dude, this is
the only problem with the Rhodes is it's super heavy.
Yeah.
It's anywhere we played a show with it.
Yeah, it
Or
just
all of us have helped schlep that thing.
yeah, it just bangs through, man.
That's all you can call it. It's not carry, it's schlepping.
We had to turn it. We had to turn it so far down in like Abbey one night because Dewey was like, "Turn it down. I'm all the way down. You have to turn it down." Like this thing is this thing punches through, man. So very, very, very cool. So you guys played you played at Haley's.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the shows. Has Jambunctious ever gone out of Denton and played at
We've
places
played it a
outside
few
of
times
Denton?
in Dallas. I think the last time we played in Dallas was at Wits End
Yep. The Freeman,
and the Freeman,
Cajun Cafe,
Crown
Yeah.
and Harp.
Crown and Harp. That's right.
Very
I think
cool.
that might be about it actually for Jambunctious for us.
We played
anyways.
a private party up off Lake Roberts one night. That was a good hang.
Nice.
Yeah, that was
Great
fun.
hang.
Very cool. Very cool.
Oh yeah, I remember that night. Yeah, that was fun.
That's very cool. So, did Jambunctious record any studio albums or do anything like that, or have you guys always been more of like a live performance? Because it seems like this is, while a great band, it seems like it's kind of one of those things. It's almost like one of those bands that appears when it's necessary and then goes away when it's not. You're like, hey, like all of a sudden, like there's
Like
a light in the
Godzilla.
sky that's like Jambunctious, and Will calls you up. He's like,
That's
we're
pretty close.
Leland, we're needed.
I'm bringing the truck, man.
Yeah, I'm on my
Get
way.
in.
We are needed.
We
So-
worked on an album. We almost got tracking done, and then it's about the time Jambunctious ended.
Yeah.
We've been on hiatus for about a year and a half, and the reason we're doing this show this Friday, I know we'll get there eventually. The reason we're doing this show is because a few of us are leaving town this summer, and we're getting out of Denton, and times are changing, and we thought it would be appropriate to sort of do one last
Exactly.
homage
Yeah.
to what once was.
And it would just seem like a lot of fun.
Yeah, because I know Dewey's moving, or at least that's what he's told me. He
Yeah.
might be, he might not. We'll find out. Are you going somewhere?
I'm moving to Nashville.
Oh, for the bright lights, huh?
Mhm.
That's what I like to hear, man. And you're not leaving, right?
No,
'Cause
I'm not leaving.
I can't handle
I can't.
that.
I can't afford to leave right now.
Well, I can't either, but
I'm still doing.
I'm getting on a freight car. It's gonna work out.
I got a surprise bindle.
Exactly. It's like, what are you, part of Old Crow Medicine Show? What's going on here? So, this is where I'm going to ask you about that. You know, being a professional guitar player, it's all that you do. What is because, I mean, that's a lot of people's dream, is that all I do is play guitar. But I think what people forget is a lot of people play guitar because it's fun. When you get off work, you go home and you play guitar.
Yeah.
When you're stressed, you play guitar. What happens whenever that is what creates the stress and what is your work? How does that transition? What is that like to go from a kid playing in his room to becoming all you do is play guitar and that's how you make a living? What's the process and what's that like?
It got strange for a little while. It's still very strange, but I went to University of North Texas School of Music School of Music for guitar, and so it was my education, it was my work, and it was my hobby.
Okay.
And luckily, I had an outlet like Jambunctious to just play stupid stuff and write stupid fun stuff and
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
original projects to keep me
yeah,
sane.
for sure.
But you're absolutely right. At the end of the day, sometimes the last thing I want to do is put that thing in my hands. You know?
Yeah.
But it's been great. I graduated last May.
Okay.
I've been here for a year, and I wanted to be here a year before I moved. And my relationship with the instrument has definitely changed since I've been out.
Very cool.
The original projects are a lot more satisfying. I find myself with a lot more time to play what I want to play rather than
Awesome.
being under the gun all the time.
Yeah, that's fantastic, man. So, what other stuff do you do in order to maintain an income? As far as who do you play with, or like, do you play in an orchestra? Do you play with jazz groups? Do you play with other bands to be like, are you a studio guitarist? What's the what is it that you do to
yeah.
maintain a living?
I'm a hired gun essentially. I get a lot of calls for country music. I do a lot of country music, anything from contemporary stuff, red dirt, chicken picking, honky tonk, western swing kind of
Chicken
stuff.
He just
picking.
rolls into town.
That is
Plays a
awesome.
fancy lick, and steals your woman, and rides into the sunset.
But I end up getting called for dance band type stuff. A lot of pickup things. If you can play a wedding, whether it's classical or a jazz combo or
Nice.
anything like that. Studio work when it comes. Also playing churches.
Yeah.
Currently, right now, I'm at the Potter's House, Fort Worth.
Very cool.
And I love that church. Shout out to the Potter's House. Great people, great music.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely anything and everything you can take.
Very,
sure.
very cool. Awesome. Because I've talked to Dewey and also a guy named Kyle Downs. Kyle Downs.
Oh, he's a good friend of mine.
Awesome. Yeah, Kyle, good friend of mine. You know, shout out Kyle. Kyle's
Both of y'all are giving out multiple shout outs.
Kyle's my favorite kid to pretend I dislike but really admire. Like, you know, I was like, dude, I watched your graduation video of you playing Zappa. Like, that was ridiculous.
I was in the Zappa band with
yeah,
Kyle.
okay, very cool.
Definitely.
And he has always I was like, so how did, because that's how he works at LSA, but he makes a majority of his living playing music. And Dewey as well has said, hey man, church gigs are a huge part of the musician's life, you know, and as far as making an income, you know, because I mean, we've got millions of churches in Texas and not a billion venues, you know what I mean? So that's, you know, if you're out there and you're watching this and you've ever wondered, that's why I had to ask for people who might be watching, they're like, how do you become a professional guitarist, but you're not in like a traveling band, you know?
Yeah.
You're not touring, things like that.
And luckily,
you know?
Dallas-Fort Worth is kind of an oasis. You know, there's a lot of money, a lot of commerce here, and people that are making money want to spend it on things like music and entertainment.
Exactly.
So
and when you provide something that's a good quality product, good music, good professionalism, like you have been way too polite to me thus far. I'm going to let you know that right now. All right. So, so when you meet somebody like that, yeah, it's like, I like this person and I want to pay them to be able to continue what they do. It's a big reason. Like, if I book a show, I don't care if that show only makes $30. I'm giving every musician money out of my own pocket. That's just going to happen because you got to spend money to make it in a way,
right,
you know?
Yeah.
And
if you don't take care of the people you're playing with, then they're not going to want to play with you.
They're not going to want to play with you, and they're going to say a few things about you to other people.
Yeah, exactly.
That you don't want to hear. So,
be
very
polite,
cool, man.
tip
I was
your
just curious.
Yeah.
Because people ask me, they're like, man, how do you make money DJing? And I always tell them, just like, it's time. It's just time and meeting people and having conversations, and you're a salesman, really. Like, I don't want to buy anything from a guy I don't like. You know, but if my best friend comes through and he's got something, I'm probably going to buy it just because I like the guy.
Right,
and I want to support him, you know. So I've always told people, I'm like, look, if my music was half as good as my personality, I'd be a billionaire. Not to think I'm like an amazing personality or anything, but it's just that difference, you know, where I think people more show up to just support.
If I played guitar as good as I rake leaves.
yeah. I know.
Awesome,
Goodness
dude.
gracious.
Woo,
Yeah, exactly.
I'd be set.
So, Will, are you the front man in this band?
I suppose I am. I think yes.
You would say so.
Me and Dewey share
Definitely.
the singing responsibilities.
Very
so
cool.
there's
Very cool.
Some harmonies, very limited harmonies for right now.
Right on.
And some back and forth banter in between.
Do you
and
play
before
any
songs.
instruments, or are you
I
just
play
a vocal
I
man?
play guitar and sing in this band, but I usually hang back on rhythm guitar and just
Yeah,
let him,
you just sing in Soul Patrol, right?
I sing and play guitar. in that
Okay,
band.
cool. Very, very. That's.
Once
See,
again, like same exact role, just a different band.
It's great though. The tunes where he takes off the guitar, man, he's all over the stage.
I know. That's what I
It's
remember.
cool, but like when I'm
He's-
playing guitar, I gotta like kind of focus a
He's
little
like,
bit.
he's like Freddie Mercury up there all of a sudden. Like, when he
way.
just, yeah.
That is an
whatever, man.
insult to Freddie Mercury.
We're gonna get your axe
No.
off at the Jambunctious show.
No,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
compliment to you, not an insult to him.
you.
All right, well, I'm gonna spin
Thank
it back
you.
around that way.
He's way better facial hair than me.
Okay, the only thing he can probably do better is squeeze into those bell bottoms. all
The
right?
bell
That's-
bottoms for sure.
You know,
yeah.
but if you bust a pair of those out, I'm not gonna get
See,
mad
he can
at
rock
you.
the suspenders too. I can't do the suspenders as well.
I like the classic half microphone stand. You know what I'm talking about? You have the mic, and then there's like a foot and a half of microphone stand. You just running around with it. It's great.
Oh man.
He's about to strike one of the
Yeah.
audience members.
So since we've talked about Freddie, let's talk about some influences now. What would you say? Okay, give me. And I know this is kind of a hard one, but let's go top 3 guitarists. You know, if you had to choose some guys, you know, and I'll give you one. I'll give you one just to start you off with where I'm at. So one of my favorites has always been Mike Einzinger from Incubus. He was the lead guitarist of Incubus. He's got an amazing jazz guitarist. He played in that band, but he had another thing that was called the Time Lapse Consortium, which was more of a huge composition. He had horns and piano and the guitar and all that. So I've always loved that guy. Who are some of the top dogs for you as far as guitar players? I mean, now, past, present, you know, when you're a kid and you saw that person or heard that person's music, you're like, that might not be what you want to sound like, but you want to be able to emulate what they're doing, you know?
Of course, as a guitar player and spending the time I have in Texas, Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yes, I was like, I feel like Stevie's coming.
You stole one
Yeah.
from me.
Yeah.
Still, I was trying to think. I was like, I hope I don't get asked this question, but Stevie was one of them.
And I also have to say came on a little later. Once I was in high school, started experimenting a little, if you will.
Yeah.
Trey Anastasio.
Oh, yeah.
And I think his flavor has found its way into my playing, whether
That's the
I've
second
wanted
one.
it to or not. Oh man, I'm so sorry.
3 other guys. That's
And
what I picked.
if I had to pick 3 just to limit it,
Yeah.
because I started on bass and I even found interest in the electric bass at first, Les Claypool
Okay,
was one
definitely.
of the first guys that really made me rethink
Yeah.
how you interact with an instrument.
Oh man, no doubt. Or just that. Les has made the strangest music and has made a living doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Shout out to Clayton. I used to teach that kid 8th grade. So.
What's up, Clayton?
Shout out to you. yeah.
Stay in school.
He doesn't even look like he's been in 8th grade yet.
He's a short guy.
Yeah, okay.
We've all been there. Hush. Right on, man. I gotta say those. That's a good top 3 right there. That's a good top 3. But I mean, I'm gonna have to ask you, man. You know,
Guitar players or singers?
Either or. I don't want to put too much
Either
pressure
or.
on it. So if you want to choose singers, since he took like 2 out of your 3 already.
I think, hands down, James Brown is like one of my top vocal influences.
Yeah.
For sure. Just like showmanship and like his range, like the things he does and the energy he brings to it, like that especially rings true with
Nobody
me.
can just go like into a mic for 3.5
No one
minutes.
can say the same. They're like, oh yeah, and like can do that. Yeah, exactly for like 3 minutes and just
And it's
they just
sell
hold it down.
Now, did James Brown? I had a question. Y'all might know this. Was he also a composer? Did he do any of the writing for that music, or was he just kind of the guy who was like had the ideas and had other people kind of help him?
He
to
may have had a
create that?
hand in it. I'm not sure what instruments he played. He may have played piano or something like that. He grew up playing in churches, so it stands to reason that he would be able to play at least a little bit of piano.
Yeah.
But I really don't know.
Yeah,
I really don't
that's
know.
always something I've been curious about because, like I said, you got 3.5 minutes of a guy just like making onomatopoeias
Yeah, I'm just
essentially,
gonna-
and he's a legend. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I'm like, you can't just be a legend for making noise. You had to have another. There's got to be something else. You know,
It was
wasn't
just
his movements and everything.
his
were so on point.
personality,
Yeah.
his like just stage presence, everything about him. Just
I assume there was a musical director behind the scenes, you know.
Yeah.
Probably.
I can't remember his famous drummer's name, and all my
Clyde
drummer friends
Stubblefield.
are
the
gonna
funky
Clyde
drummer
Stubblefield.
that's
are gonna curse me. There
Clyde
you go.
Stubblefield.
I
Literally
think he
the
had a
most-
big hand in also
yeah.
writing the music. He wasn't just a drummer. He
Yeah.
had good harmonic and melodic understanding.
it's the number one most sampled drum riff. Perfect. Number one. I love the fact that just happened.
that's my roommate.
That's shout out to Randall Day. He's actually designing the poster for our event coming up at, this
Nice.
Friday. He's got the poster for us.
That's awesome. And I was saying like that the drummer that his drum beat that he did on Funky Drum, it's like the number one sampled drum beat in like all the history of
Yeah,
hip hop is
yeah.
that drum beat right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
all
you
day long.
slow it down. You slow
You just
that
have
down
to-
to 90
You have to start from
BPM.
somewhere, and
Yeah.
I think Clyde Stubblefield definitely was one of the driving forces behind why that band worked. So
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll go back to my influences.
Yes.
James Brown, Otis Redding, of course, and as guitar players and like other like vocalists, like it just kind of revolves. Like it's I'll listen to a new person whose voice I really like or I like their style, and I'll try and incorporate a little bit of their mix into what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It just kind of revolves. It always changes, and Stevie Ray Vaughan, for a guitar player, of course, the more I listen to him, the more I'm just like, oh man, like I kind of like thought it was cheesy when I was a kid, and now I feel so foolish for not listening to more of it earlier.
So who's the king of funk, man?
King of Funk,
Yeah. Who like
I would say George Clinton
that's what
could
I
probably take it.
Yeah.
Like he would be a highly I don't think he would be very contested. I'm sure there's a lot of people from Funkadelic
Yeah.
that could maybe even fit in there. Like Bootsy Collins,
Yeah, I was
maybe.
gonna say Bootsy could
Bootsy,
go in
Sly.
there too.
Sly,
yeah, Sly and
yeah.
the Family Stone. They actually just got put in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh,
Good
yes.
for them.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
deserve it.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's, I don't know, it may be contested, but I think for right now I'd have to say George Clinton is the king of funk.
There's an
The reigning king. Anyways,
awesome
of
interview
funk.
I watched with him, and he was like, people often asking like why I'm so funky. He's like, I really can't tell you, but my mother can tell you that the minute I was born, I was dancing. You know, it's like he said that he was like, I showed up dancing. You
Yeah,
know?
man.
So I guess that's just what it is.
It was destiny. It was
Yeah,
written.
Yeah, exactly. It was written in the
in the
stars.
funky stars.
You know, and that's something that I love about music is a lot of times I went to school for history, and so we forget that there's a history behind music. You know, like being a DJ, sometimes I catch a lot of flack because people are like, play a real instrument, and then like to the people who play guitar, I'm like, hey, go build your guitar before you play it, and like, you know, and then they build it, and I'm like, no, that's still not legitimate. Now you gotta make your own strings, or you know, it's you know.
That's
so,
something like I will admit, when I was younger, I was like, man, DJs are like taking up good gigs. And then
Yeah.
as I've gotten like older and like realized what all of it entails, I'm like, I couldn't do this.
Yeah, what's going on
I
behind the
couldn't-
scenes is a lot
yeah.
different than what you see
I
in
couldn't
front of you.
pilot this starship. Like, I would crash your DJ equipment so hard. I was just, ooh.
There's
Yeah.
a joke in my family, unrelated. It's about food, not about music. But whenever my mom would be like, "Oh, I made it from scratch," I'd be like, "Did you grow the wheat? Did you get the milk from the cow out back?"
Yeah, yeah,
well,
yeah.
no, I didn't. So
I
that's how
toiled 7 months to make this lasagna.
Where are the eggs, Mom?
Yeah, where's the mill? Where are you grinding everything
you're
down
not
at?
churning any butter. What's going on here?
You
You
bought
know?
this Parmesan cheese. I know you did.
It says Kroger on the can. Yeah. So,
Shout out to Kroger.
like, yeah, exactly. Plug that right there. You never know.
both of you, like I said, both of y'all have given multiple shout outs. That was just my first.
Yeah,
shout
hey,
out.
feel free to do you, man.
Shout out
That's-
to
Just start shouting.
Yeah, that's half the fun. Just start shouting out right in the middle of the questions. Before we get to that shout out.
Before I answer,
Let's talk shout outs. Back to what we were talking about. See, this is the one thing about like when I do this show, especially when I get someone else who's obviously ADD like yourself, you just bounce around, dude. I'll go. There's actually this guy, Kevin, who wrote an article. He's writing a little article about me, and he was like, I've never spoke to someone who can go off on such a tangent and then bring it right back around to the original part of the conversation. So when we were talking about like history, something I have is kind of the history of, we see like a lot of people talk about like, let's relate this to food, like. We don't really have American food. We have food that's been like Americanized in a way, hamburgers and Chinese food and pizza and all this kind of stuff. But I feel like funk music and jazz, and you could even almost go as far as rock, are truly like an American art form, in a way. It's something that developed. Like you could say that blues started maybe, and then jazz, and then funk came after that. Y'all are more than welcome to chime in on how y'all.
I think I don't have like a charts and
Yeah.
Look at this right here. But I think that's a very correct statement. I think it all sort of stemmed from jazz and blues and just rolled from there. The more people started experimenting and more people started listening to that kind of music, and so it became more popular. And I would wholeheartedly agree that it's an American art form.
Because funk kind of started to seem like, would you say like the 60s is kind of when funk started to pop up?
Maybe even like late 50s.
Some late
60s.
'50s
like
you were
the
seeing?
first like flames of funk
Because
started
it's like,
kind of
we're,
popping up.
it's almost like people, because I think back and I'm like, you had some rock music that was coming up, but it was more like Elvis and things like that. Actually, you had some country, but that was Johnny Cash and things like that. I think that people just wanted more energy in some music.
that
I think
snappiness.
they were
Yeah.
kind of dancing to Elvis, and then all of a sudden these bigger things, and like these funk bands are big groups. These are huge groups. I mean, I don't even know how many are in Funkadelic. I have no idea.
Oh,
It seems-
I think it's just an amalgamous like blob of just
yeah,
musicians
just guys
that
who show up. Just like
They
if
pick
you-
up and like leave musicians behind
Yeah.
as they rotate around the earth.
If you watch like a Sly and the Family Stone video, it's Sly with some crazy gear on,
Mm-hmm.
and then he's got like 12 people around him. 3 backup singers and all this.
It's like Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah. So to me, and once again, y'all can comment on this as well, it seems as though funk appeared at a time when you just had World War II, you have the baby boomers in the 50s starting to appear, and you had Elvis and Johnny Cash and a lot of like swing and doo-wop music. It seems like people just needed stuff that was a little bit riskier, like funk was, and just gave them something, and the youth, to dance to a little bit more than Johnny and Elvis. What do y'all
It had
think?
that harder edge to it. I also think funk is about like rock and roll Elvis. It's about being cool. Like even the Beatles vibe, the kind of invasion where the fans were going nuts for who was on stage. But in that sense, it's kind of self-indulgent. And I think the funk is about being hip. Need to watch my language on the radio. I was about to drop some stuff. It's about being hip, and most importantly, it's about sharing the funk.
Yeah.
Because when James Brown was on stage, he wanted the audience to feel that. He didn't want the audience to worship that or observe it. He wanted them to feel that.
Yeah,
and
for
I
sure.
think that same everybody can feel the funk.
I agree.
Yeah.
As
And
ridiculous as that
And
sounds.
maybe
No,
that's
dude,
why
that
there's
makes sense.
That's why there can be so many people on stage, is because you find a groove and you stay in that pocket, and everybody plays their own little part. They all share the responsibility of making one solid sound, as opposed to like 30 people just playing instruments at you.
Like-
And there's not a, like he said, it's to pull people in. It's meant to be shared, and that's why I like it a lot.
I myself, doing the whole DJ and electronic music, there is a huge increase right now of what's being called modern funk, and it's because these kids now have the ability to go in their room and have 5,000 instruments in a computer, and they can make the horn riffs. They can do all, the funky synths and all that kind of stuff. So like the modern funk is starting to appear. And then we have this guy who goes by the name of Bruno Mars, who I really feel like is putting a very new, I hate to say it, but a 24-karat spin on funk. But I listen to those tracks, man, and it really does, have your opinions on Bruno Mars, whatever you want to think. The guy can write a song and can produce something that makes people move in a way. So I feel like we're starting to see funk come back,
I kind of agree. Bruno Mars is a stupidly talented dude.
Exactly.
Dude,
and when you know his story, where he came from, and how broke his family was,
incredibly
goodness,
talented.
you're like, I'm done. Like, I can't believe I've had so many privileges in my life, and you had nothing, and I have not accomplished 90% of what you've done. You know?
And you know what? Like, as a performer and a musician, like, I have nothing bad to say about Bruno Mars at all.
Yeah.
I think some of his stuff is a little poppier than funky.
Yeah, exactly.
It definitely has elements of funk, and it's definitely
the
like
24 karat and the one he did with Mark Ronson, Uptown Funk.
Uptown Funk,
those had a lot of funk, and that's what I'm saying. It's like I had another girl
There's
who showed
funk
me
in
this
the
song
name.
called "That's What I Like," and it was really funky too. And like, I even told my homie, I was like, I don't like to admit this, but I am vibing some Bruno Mars right now. It's kind of like all of a
he
sudden
just knows the secret that everybody digs funk. I don't care
like
who
all of a
you
sudden
are.
when I
Almost
was-
everybody I know likes funk.
It's like all of a sudden when I was like, oh man, I actually kind of like Justin Timberlake, but don't tell anybody.
There's no shame in that.
Yeah.
JT
Nah, man,
gets
they're
down,
killing.
dude.
They're
Yeah.
killing.
It goes from like when you're growing up though, and you're like, oh, I don't like him. All the girls think he's cool, and then you're like, now I
Yeah,
know why all
okay.
the girls think he's cool. I
Yeah.
should have taken notes from this
Man.
guy a long time ago.
Man, I'd have had my
You know?
hair dyed and everything. Like the ramen hair. I'd have had that, dude.
like
I would
someone
have
just
done that.
Came over the top and just.
If I'd have known that was the secret to making it to where JT's
Ramen hair?
the bleach blonde
Yeah.
curly hair, I'd have done it. It's
That guy has never I don't know. Even when he was in like the controversy, it was just like. JT shows up to bring Britney Spears macaroni and cheese during these times of
He's
You're like,
he's an American sweetheart.
Yeah, he's kept his nose out of the
absolutely
dirt.
is.
But see, the reason
I would let JT in my house if I walked in my house. And, like, if he's famous enough that if I walked in
If
my
he was-
house and I saw him, I wouldn't be like, get out of my house. I'd be like, Justin Timberlake. What are you doing in my house?
I feel like
What's
it's the
going
same
on?
reaction you have like Ellen DeGeneres. Like you just can't be mad.
yeah.
What's
So-
up?
So actually, that's a new question I'm throwing into the show from here on out is what musician could you come home and find in your pantry eating your food and you would just accept that it's okay? How about for you? What would you say
That I
if
would
there's
accept that it's okay.
or like you come home and they're just kind of like hanging out, like they're on the couch, like maybe they're drinking some coffee, watching your TV, and like you're just stoked to see that person there. Like,
man, I got to think on that.
yeah.
I'm gonna need a minute.
For
on
me,
that.
I don't know, man. Like, imagine if you just came in like Pavarotti was just like sitting in your room, like or Frank
Well,
Sinatra.
Pavarotti? Well, they're both dead. If
Yeah,
either
but-
one of them was sitting in my living room when I got home, I would be way less enthused about
Well,
the
okay.
ghost of Frank Sinatra.
I have my dreams. All right. All right.
Zombie Pavarotti.
Okay. Tony Bennett, he's still alive. How about that guy?
I'd love to have like someone I'd love to have would be like Robert Plant.
Oh,
If I
yeah.
came home and he was just chilling, we'd probably eat some good food, listen to some good music. On the other hand, if like James Hetfield was on my love seat, I'd be like, I love Metallica, but you gotta get out.
Did anybody see you come in here, James Hetfield? Be honest.
Where's Lars?
Where
Where's
is
Lars?
he? I hear him. I hear him somewhere.
You go nowhere without Lars. That's awesome, man. Oh, golly. See, that's what happens. It was like last time we talked, like, Candace got on and she was like, this is just like watching two friends like goof off in a room.
What's what it is,
Yeah.
man. You're very.
Right.
I think both of our ADD or ADHD kind of like circles around, and
Yeah.
that's why our conversations work well
They
together.
just bounce around.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Now, do you guys ever get in an argument about who has like better hair, or
No.
that never happens? 'Cause
Right now, he wins. Yeah, he wins.
Yeah, he's got that
Back in the
covered.
day, I had the long locks.
But I love that both of y'all are sporting chest hair right now.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
That's what I'm talking.
I
Like,
can't.
we're
I
both
can't help
hairy
but
dudes.
sport this chest hair. I'm not really. I'm dealing with this. I'm living with chest hair.
This isn't
right
something
now.
I'm happy about right now, fellas. That's awesome.
Girlfriend likes it.
We're
so.
gonna get back to music soon enough, I promise. All right.
Post
So-
all your comments about my chest hair.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Candace
What-
is actually right there.
what's
She
the-
said, "Look at all these chicken heads."
Look at all these chicken heads.
Man, you know what, Candace? This is just that's rude. You know, this is the
Are there
first
chicken
interview.
heads walking by?
Oh,
I'm
I don't
not.
know. Did you know this is the first interview I've ever done not wearing a hat?
Oh,
It
really?
feels weird to like look into this
That's
and
some nice
see my
hair, man.
actual
You
hair.
do have some nice hair.
You do.
It's a little. I feel like it's very Christopher Walken today. You know, just, you know.
That's okay, man.
You know,
I feel
Yeah.
like the weirder you look in Denton, like the cooler you look.
It's like it's. Did you ever see Big Daddy? That movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember when he's like, you gotta understand, in this neighborhood, the fatter you are, the cooler you are. Yeah. And I actually explained that to a few of my my kids when I was teaching, like kid who walked by. I was like, look, you gotta understand, like back then, because like they saw this picture of George Washington, they're like, he's fat. You know, I was like, well, he's got a little bit of a gut, but like, why do you think that is? And one kid raised his hand and was like, well, he's the general, so he's probably eating the best out of anybody. And
Yeah.
I was like, ha, somebody's paying.
You're going to college.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You've got what it takes. But you know, there were kids in that class who played a lot of instruments, and every once in a while there would always be a little. Sometimes they would catch a little flack, you know, band nerd or whatever. But I would always tell them, I'd be like, look, man, this guy right here playing football. Broken knees by 23. You keep playing that saxophone. Ooh, you have no idea.
I've seen his coverage. It's weak outside the pocket. Man. Trust me, dude. He's
Trust
not
me.
going anywhere.
But I've heard your C sharps on point.
Good, man.
Yeah. So, you started playing in school. Now I have to ask: did you ever run into anybody giving you guff about playing in band, or?
So I was in orchestra,
Yeah.
and there was a very clear rift between the band geeks and the orc dorks.
Oh,
Essentially, that's what they said.
Okay. See, this is something I'm not aware of.
And that always made me feel better because they had to shorten orchestra to orc to actually insult me. So, you know, it wasn't as good as like band geeks, just recognizable.
So
you know?
Orc
perfect,
Dork
yeah.
does roll off the tongue really well.
It does.
does,
That
it
would be a
does.
good band too, even
Dork?
an orc dork.
Orc
Yeah.
dork.
Like the orc dorks, you know.
But when I moved to Texas, like I said, my school had it's Texas, so they threw all their money into the football team.
Oh yeah.
So they had a wonderful marching band, but no orchestra. And I didn't really get along with any of the kids in band. I wasn't really into choir. So I was well known as a very accomplished musician in my high school, but I wasn't in any programs. I did my own music on my own terms, kind of
Nice.
thing. So
Very,
it's
very
kind
cool.
Of, kind of a rebel.
And yeah, hey, why not, dude? And did you ever run into anybody, you know?
Not really, man. I played football and I wrestled.
Yeah, I was like, you're not exactly a small person, you know?
I'm
you
wrestled.
like, you wrestled.
I wrestled.
Yeah, that's not wrestling.
And I played football, and I think I did track in middle school, but I did choir and band in middle school. I did choir in high school.
Very cool.
And I did theater and stuff. No, I didn't really get
So
any
you're
trouble,
just you're
man.
just everywhere, right? So
Yeah,
nobody really, yeah.
No.
Very cool. That
I was
yeah.
homecoming king. I was yeah.
Dude, I didn't
get any
I went
trouble.
to prom with like the class president, you know, like which is like the coolest thing I did in high school for sure.
Yeah?
I don't even know. I still to this day don't know how I pulled that off.
There it
you know?
is. It's in my office.
Yeah, and I've got it right here, commemorated. Yeah, every year my phone goes off with a reminder. This day, you went to prom with Caitlin Cash. Yeah, shout out Caitlin. See, the shout outs never stop.
Never.
You know, man. Oh my goodness. You know, one thing that I've loved about living in Denton, you know, and getting more part of the music scene, which I never intended to happen. Like when I moved here, man, I was a kid trying to make EDM. Like I was literally trying to make and like dubstep and all that. And then I quickly realized when I moved here, I was like, man, I don't really want to do that. And it was a lot of because I realized that people up here, I wanted to get in the music scene, but I had to figure out how am I going to make stuff that people want to see, you know, want to listen to. And so I had to kind of feel the vibe of this town out.
You stop showering
In a way.
and-
Yeah, exactly. I stopped showering. I bought some Chacos. And
Chacos. What are Chacos?
yeah, Chacos, they're the really like $95 for a pair of sandals. You'll trust me. You're gonna start seeing Chacos everywhere now that I've mentioned them.
Okay.
They're gonna be all over the place. Just
All
wait.
right.
Trendsetter.
Exactly. Yeah. No,
Shout
it's
out
just-
Chacos.
Yeah. Do y'all feel as though like so when I moved here, my music changed a lot, you know, and it was kind of the city. Do y'all feel as though Denton has inspired you any way musically? We'll start with Leland.
Definitely. Going to UNT was such a great choice. It's funny, it kind of through circumstance I ended up going to UNT. I was supposed to go to Berkeley and Boston.
Goodness.
And I auditioned, got in, and last minute I decided I had to talk with a close family friend and realized I was going to be about $200K in debt for a 4-year
Yeah.
degree up there. And
Uh-huh.
last minute I said, you know, I withdrew from classes and signed up for UNT, and I didn't play jazz. I didn't even listen to jazz before I showed up here, and I just blossomed up there.
That's
It's
awesome,
been nothing but good for me.
Is there anybody specifically, as far as a professor-wise, that that either inspired you or just helped you to be a professional and accomplished musician?
Well, for one, Fred Hamilton, the head of jazz guitar, great guy, great player, great philosophy. He was nothing but a good influence on me. And also, one of the grad students I was really close with, his name's Stephen Lockbaum, very accomplished classical guitar player. But he'd played everything before he'd settled on classical guitar. And
Oh yeah.
he was the kind of guy that had everything in his back pocket. And he'd
One of
played
those
and gigged
guys.
and toured, and nothing but great knowledge from him
Yeah.
about being a person, being a good player, everything. Yeah.
One of the first concerts I ever went to at UNT was for one of my music history classes. We had to go watch one of the doctorate recitals. And this guy got up there, I can't remember his name, but he got up there and he played Bach on the guitar. And on the class, I sat there with my mouth open the whole time, just like,
Yeah.
because the guy didn't stop. And it was the intricacies and everything he was playing. It was like, and as soon as I saw that, I was like, I think I'm in the right town. Like, I'm in the right place.
Yeah,
If this college in North Texas, I've always told everybody that, like, if you have a direction in your school, you're not a real school. But that was before I moved to the University of North Texas. Because I'd be like, come on, like, Southwestern Mississippi State? Like, nah. But then I started going to the University of North Texas, and I totally changed that opinion. I was always goofing around. But anyways, like, the musical ability at that school is crazy. Like, you want to know why this town is so great for music, and really getting a foothold in music and learning so much, it's because of that. In my opinion,
Monster
it is
Mansion,
that university right over there.
That's what you call it.
Yeah.
That's right.
I used to have a professor, he was or a grad student, and he would always get so frustrated. He'd be like, yeah, well, can't afford this because, we just put this stadium over here for our wonderful football team or whatever. Like, this guy was always so, and I was, and I'd be like, come on, man. You like you said, we're in Texas, and the music will always find a way. The music will always find a way. So for you, man, how has Denton changed the way that you approach music, or just the music you wanted to make?
Well, I also came here for music. I also went to UNT for music.
Very cool.
But I came here for voice, like classical.
And where
voice.
did you move from again?
Pflugerville, Texas.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
Just
yes.
north. I always tell people Austin because
Because
Pflugerville sounds like a Dr. Seuss.
yeah,
like
yeah, we
town.
talked about that. Yeah.
But
What does Pflugerville stand for, Will?
it stands for Plowtown
In German, yeah.
in German. Yeah.
Nice.
We'll be playing a song called Pflugerville actually at the Jambunctious show.
Nice. Right on.
There
March
are
31st,
absolutely
the day
no
is.
innuendos.
No.
None.
But coming here and like, I was playing like rock and roll and blues when I first got here, and then some of my friends introduced me to hip hop and funk and soul and things like that, and I started like latching onto that and figuring out that's the kind of music that I want to play.
Nice. Very cool.
That's the kind of music I want to play.
That's awesome, man. Now I have to say, Candace just apparently she said that the chest hair is her boyfriend. You're just a part of it.
That's great.
That's my girl.
His chest hair is my boyfriend. Will is only attached to it. That's why I started laughing right when you were talking to me, because I turned and saw it. I was like,
I saw you turn, and I was like, somebody said a thing.
so
And
now
I think I know who it was.
this is gonna sound bad, but we have to knit her a sweater.
To knit her a sweater out of the chest hair.
This might take months, years perhaps, but that's probably the worst thing I've ever said on the air.
That's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
Some weird kind of silkworm
We-
thing. you guys
We're all disgusted over here. Like, oh man, I tell you what, when you can make a guy who screams on a microphone uncomfortable in front of you, that's when you've accomplished something in a way. Like,
I didn't expect to be talking about chest hair sweaters today.
oh, it happens. I was like, me and that guy wearing the same shirt. Later, Clayton. Stay in school, get good grades, all that fun stuff. All right, guys. Well, it's pretty amazing how quickly an hour can go by when you're having
Yeah,
fun.
no joke,
so
man.
we're gonna. I've got a few more questions for y'all, so we might go a little bit over the hour. I just wanted to let y'all know. It doesn't look like anybody's losing their minds too quickly here. So we've talked about Denton. We've talked about how Denton just kind of inspires as well. But what I do want to talk to you about, Leland, is that you actually did some recording with my buddy Leland Cratcher.
Really?
That's what he told me. Yeah, he said that he worked with you in January, and he was at a studio that you were at, and he recorded you. I don't know if you guys like personally met, but he was like, I know exactly. He was like, hey, tell Leland that Leland says hi. He probably has no idea who I am, but I
Down
was
in Dallas?
Yeah, he was like, but I was at a
we were
recording
doing
studio.
a little. I guess it's a little secret. But
We can keep it a secret.
we can keep it secret. We were doing a songwriting session for the Dixie Chicks.
Nice.
We had some representatives coming looking to hear tunes. I think I remember him. It was a long night. We had to pump out the tunes.
Real tall guy, probably had a hat backwards 99% of the time.
And that was a good time. That's funny.
He's in a band called
how quickly
Mojo.
You forget.
He's in a band called Mojo. Those guys are good.
Mojo. Okay.
Yeah, you've seen him.
Mojo.
You've seen
That's
him, I
right.
believe.
I was like, why does that name sound familiar?
Definitely.
Okay.
It's always good to hear of another Leland. I don't hear of many other Lelands. So whenever I do,
that's like when he was like, "Hey, Leland's," and I was like, "Wait," because I immediately thought my buddy Leland. Like I was like, "What?
What are you
What is
doing
this guy
here?"
doing here in another group?" So that's cool. But man, writing some music, like songwriting for the Dixie Chicks. So there's another one. There's another way to make a little extra living is write songs for the Dixie Chicks or do some songwriting for them in a way.
That was the dream the whole time.
Yeah.
The whole time. Crank out tunes for the Dixie Chicks.
Man, that's super cool, man. So the way we always end this show, guys, is I always have to talk about snacks. Snacks are a big part of my life. I am a huge, just last night, I'll go to the grocery store, I'll be like, I'm going to get some food. I leave with hummus and pretzel sticks, a bag of pistachios, and some Triscuits.
Well, we ate dinner, but what are we going to snack on afterwards?
Yeah. What am I going to eat on my way to
we're going to watch
home?
Star Trek Next Generation
tonight.
We
need
that's
some
happening.
snacks. Yeah, exactly. So we'll start with you, Leland. What is one of your go-tos, man, just as far as a snack, man?
salt and vinegar chips.
Yes. What's the brand?
Man, number 1 is Boulder Canyon.
Yeah, man.
Avocado oil ones.
Ooh.
Those things are nuts. Number 2 is the kettle cooked in the blue bag.
Oh, yeah, man.
All day long.
So good.
All day long.
Yeah. I have issues with kettle cooked potato chips, man. If I get one, I'm buying the whole thing.
Yeah.
Or I'm eating the whole thing. It's just I cannot buy spicy Cheetos. I can't do it. If I buy spicy Cheetos, it's over. I'm eating the whole thing.
Crying, your
waking
fingers
up with
are covered in red stuff.
waking up with indigestion, wiping
2
my eyes.
days, your hands are just red.
Yeah, my mouse and my mixer's all covered in Cheeto dust.
I gotta say,
now.
I love hot food. I love the rush of eating hot stuff.
Yeah.
And when I'm coming home from a gig late at night and I need to stay awake, I will buy a bag of they have the extra hot. Have
They
you
just
seen
came
those?
out with those, yeah.
And I'll just start eating them and I won't stop. And I'm just crying, but I got so much adrenaline going that it keeps me, from going into a ditch or something like that. That's my secret. That's my little secret.
No coffee, extra hot spicy Cheetos.
Take this man to jail. He's had extra spicy Cheetos, I can tell.
Sir, have you been eating spicy Cheetos? No.
I'd like to see your hands, sir.
So show me your hands. Sir, your face is covered in red dust. It's
All right, Chester Cheetah here is off the cheese-o-meter.
Those aren't mine. Sir, we found a bag of spicy hot Cheetos. Those aren't mine. This is a friend's car.
I suppose these aren't your bugles either.
Nice. Very nice.
Oh, perfect. All right, man. So, Will, what's one of your favorite snacks?
Man, lately I've been rocking berries are really cheap at
Nice.
Kroger.
Get out of here.
So I've been
What about
rocking
junk food.
I've been talking.
Yeah,
Give me
man.
the finish, man.
This guy
I've been
is-
rocking blackberries and strawberries
All right.
lately, but I have always been an adamant proponent of cheese and crackers.
Yeah.
Got some basil and or pesto formaggio and some Triscuits.
Very.
About as cultured as Triscuits. I don't have the fancy
the
artisan
the table crest water,
Yeah.
the fire water crest,
yeah,
whatever
I don't have
that's
any
called.
of that stuff. But yeah, I'll stomp a mud hole in some cheese and crackers.
Oh
man.
my goodness, yeah, man. I remember one time my buddies called me and they're like, "Hey man, you want to go out tonight?" I was like, "Nah, man, I got Frasier on right now. I got a thing of cheese here. I got a wheel of Applewood smoked Gouda." And a bottle of Cabernet. I ain't going anywhere right
not
now.
going
So they're like, "What?
I don't need anything.
You call us when this is actually Mikey." So that's
You
awesome.
and Justin Timberlake have a good time. Click.
Yeah. Oh, man. Now, did you just have a Frasier reference, I felt like?
I hit up the theme song, yeah. And I
yes.
can't remember what the guy's name is that does. It's a famous tune.
Yeah?
Something toss salad and scrambled.
that's
what
is his name?
I can't remember.
And I've always wondered,
Shame
what
on me.
is he talking about at the end there?
was
Because
almost
it's Kelly. It's Kelly.
Leslie Nielsen.
Kelly is the one who's singing
But it's
that
not
part.
him.
But man, real quick, have y'all listened to H. John Benjamin's jazz record that he put out? Apparently, where he doesn't know what he's
Oh,
playing, but apparently
yes.
it's got critically acclaimed.
Yes, I saw the.
No.
I saw
Yes.
a sort of a making of short of it, and it's funny because the rest of the cats, the bass player, the drummer, and the horn player, were mildly offended.
Yeah.
Because they're like, we went to school, we've been trained, we live this every day, and this dude shows up and just all over the keys, and he's putting out an album. You know what I mean? But it had this freedom to it that was really refreshing. It was really, and when stuff lined up, it was
Exact-
really cool.
Yeah.
You know, when stuff lined up.
Yeah, and it's kind of that. It is poking a little bit of fun at jazz in a way, but it's also showing you like the beauty of jazz, that you can sit down and just have fun and play it. You know, like, you know, what is jazz is like a question that I asked Horace Bray when I had him in here. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
what is jazz? And he was like, why you gotta ask me that? And I was like,
You don't go to school for
yeah,
jazz.
I gotta ask you that. Yeah, I gotta. Well, one thing that one of my favorites. Let's see, I'm having a blank on this guy's name all of a sudden. It's not Chet Faker, and Bill Evans.
Oh, okay.
Bill Evans is one of my favorite jazz pianists. He's very, I mean, of course, the more popular, but he has this thing, and I'll ask you guys how you feel about this quote where he says, "It takes you a really, really long time to learn to play, but then eventually you have to forget all of that and just play." You know, it's kind of like it takes an athlete, and I'll always do sports. Like, it takes people years and years and years to learn that skill, but when you're finally on the court, the ice or the field, all that needs to go away and just has to become natural. It has to
Yeah,
just- you have to
that's the
embody
point of
that.
practice. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, like, what are your guys' kind of views on that I guess that quote, you know, that you have to really learn how to play, but then once you've accomplished that, then you have to kind of forget all that and let it go.
I'll let you field this one first.
Yeah.
Man, shout out to Christopher Walker, just came in here.
Oh, that's his name? I've seen that beard for years.
I think he's painted on the wall there, isn't he?
Is that him?
It looks like him.
It might as well be. That's
Anyway,
Chris
Sure,
Walker.
it is.
But, you know, I think I've found this myself with and with other highly trained musicians, that a lot of times you get in a musical situation and you have too many options available to you. You know, what sound do you want? You know, you really get caught up in what ideas you want to play, what tone you want. And a lot of time it's just like, man, be free, be natural, do your thing. And I think it parallels when you're learning jazz or any genre of music. You're learning a vocabulary. And it's about digesting so much vocabulary that eventually you can speak in your own creative way. You know, same with a writer or, you know, a journalist, someone that speaks live on
Yeah.
air. It's about through digesting other people's material that you truly find your own voice and that freedom.
I'm going to watch what you just said probably like 30 times later tonight. That was good. Like, that
Thank
was,
you, man. Thank you.
I don't think, Will, do you have
Yeah.
anything to add?
To that, man, I know for me, like, there comes a point where, like, before a show, I'll sit down and I'll try and, like, run through some of the tunes, like anything I'm having problems with. And then when it comes time to do it, you just got to do it. You just have to let your adrenaline take over. I mean,
Yeah.
no matter what, no matter how many times I play, no matter who I'm playing for, no matter what, when I, like, get behind a microphone or I strap on a guitar or get up on stage, I'm going to be nervous.
Nice.
I'm going to be nervous. And
Right
but then
on.
like a song or two in, and if those go pretty okay, like
Yeah.
then you should be good to go. But
you
your
can turn
adrenaline,
that energy around.
yeah, exactly, your energy takes over, and then the things you've been practicing so much end up being just natural. You just and
yeah.
you can look at your guitar player and go, yeah, while you hit it like a riff together.
Yeah.
While you play something together, like it's
Yeah, and speaking of playing together, you guys got a gig coming up.
we do.
When?
That's March 31st.
March 31st
at Andy's. We're
Andy's.
playing with Lex Lotta and the Boombox.
Nice.
We're gonna be giving away a lot of our old merchandise and like some new stuff.
Is there a cover?
There's a $5 cover,
cover.
but like all
got that.
the old merch, like we're slashing prices.
You guys
We're
need to get a
slashing
T-shirt
prices.
cannon. Just
Oh my! If I would,
blank, yeah.
just
I would already be arrested if I had a T-shirt cannon. Oh my lord!
I wonder if there's
I
anybody
would
in
pay
the,
like bills at restaurants. There you go. Like I would be in so much trouble with a
Oh
T-shirt
man!
cannon.
So you said March 31st.
March
this
31st.
Friday. Yeah, it's a week from. Yeah, not
Yeah.
a week. What am I thinking? I don't know what day.
Yeah,
it
it's
is.
Friday,
Coming
man.
Friday.
So Friday, very very cool, man. And you're playing with the Boombox, and who's the other person?
Lex Lotta.
Lex Lotta. Now,
And
I've
then
never heard of Lex Lotta.
that's a group. That's sort of a funky kind of jazz fusion.
Yeah, there's some homies of mine, the generation at UNT that was about a year or two younger than me. Great
Okay.
players. It's all original music. Great dancing music.
I'm sure it's going to be ridiculous.
That's what the whole night's going to be about on Friday. That's
Yeah.
what Jambunctious was always about, was people coming out and just dancing
And have a good time.
all night.
Right.
All
on.
night long.
That's well, and that's something that honestly that we need some more dance music around
We always
here,
need more
around here.
yeah,
Yeah,
music.
exactly. You just can't dance enough.
yeah,
you know?
if you ain't sweating, you ain't doing it right.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, exactly,
Because
man.
Jambunctious always
So we
is-
got March 31st, so it's going to be this Friday. When does the music start?
Music starts at 10 o'clock.
Music starts at 10 o'clock. When are you guys going?
We go on at midnight.
Midnight.
We're closing it out, and I'm doing a doubleheader that night. I'm playing 7:30 to 9 up at LSA with Soul Patrol, and then I get off stage,
And that's my
go
goodness. and
change my Soul Patrol garb, and then rock out at Andy's.
I just realized I have off this Friday.
Well, all right.
I'm going to see double dose of Will.
Yeah, man, that's a good night.
I think I'm just gonna make a shirt for you that night. Just as like #1 Will Niffen fanboy.
If you made that shirt, I would buy it from you. That would be my new profile picture.
No, I'm just writing it with Sharpie. Like a dirty Hanes tee that I find.
Hey! Oh, shit. Oh, man, it's Mike again.
No. Yeah, put some cigarette burn holes in it, just for the fun
It's Mike again. He's back, man.
It's that crazy redheaded guy, man.
He misspelled my name.
Conan O'Brien wannabe.
Man, I do want to be Conan, but it's just
Man, I was
going
gonna make a comment about your hair and say it's leaning on the Conan side,
it's
but
getting
I
there.
didn't
It's
want to
not-
like.
Even just the arrangement of how we're sitting.
Yeah.
This feels much more like a talk show than it does an interview.
Yeah, it is. It's we need another guest. We need a couch.
Like, I feel like
know,
I want to,
very
like,
True, yeah.
if
I'm
we
like
got-
a Maury Povich or something like that, where it's just we talk to you about what's going on in our
man.
lives.
Well, it's I'm not Dr. Phil, but we'll see. Maybe one day I'll be there. Welcome to Sound Values on ABC. Tonight we discuss the man, the myth, the legend, Will Niffen. His ups, his downs, his strikes and gutters.
His ugly downfall.
Yeah, exactly, man. So it's been a blast talking to you guys. Once again, this Friday, March 31st, go out there, see Jambunctious. Check out the other groups that are going to be there. Make sure that you guys show up with not just $5, but your dancing shoes as well. They're going to have merch there. It's going to be a blast. I'll be there, so make sure that you guys are. It's going to be a fantastic, good time. I'm very, very excited for it. Guys, now it's your turn to give a shout-out, Will. Is there anyone you would like to shout out to?
I'd like to shout out to anybody who wants to come to the Jambunctious show and check out Soul Patrol Friday night and my dog Dutz.
Yeah, and Soul Patrol will actually be playing at LSA Burger Company from, I guess, 7 to 10.
7 to 10.
Yeah, 7
Come
to
get
10.
a burger.
It's going to be awesome.
And
Exactly.
bring him to the Jambunctious show and
Burger,
throw him at us
drinks.
on stage.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Whatever you got to do to make it happen. Anybody you want to give a shout out to, man?
Man, just shout out to all my friends and family in Denton. As I'm about to leave this summer, things are starting to get bittersweet, and I've met a lot of great people here. Obviously, played a lot of great music here, and also shout out to my dog Sophie.
Yeah, nice, man. Well,
100%.
I'm glad to meet you right at the end of your stay,
Absolutely,
man. It's
man.
been a
Thank you
pleasure.
for having
It's
us
been a
on.
pleasure talking with you guys. Once again, y'all, make sure that you catch Jambunctious on Friday. That is this Friday. March 31st, $5 at the door, and then you can have yourself an absolute blast. Andy's has actually totally remodeled itself. Is it the first time you have played
I
there
know.
since
I'm
they've
excited
done it?
about playing there.
It's awesome,
Yeah.
man. It's great. I got to play there probably about a month ago, and it sounds so nice now.
Excellent.
And the bathroom doors lock,
Oh,
which is
sweet.
fantastic.
You're not getting dripped on while you're playing on
no,
stage?
that's true. Yeah,
You're going to fall in the hole that's just covered by a carpet.
Yeah, fantastic.
man.
I remember I was outside of it one night, and I forget the guy's name who works the door. But he's got a twin brother who works at Guitar Center. So if y'all ever think you saw the same guy in the same place,
Alan.
Yeah.
And I can't remember.
yeah,
his
Alan.
brother's
So
name.
Alan was like,
Alan's twin.
Alan was like, man, because I walked into Guitar Center one day. I was like, what's up, Alan? And all the guys around him started laughing, and he was just like, I'm not Alan. And I was like, well, you do your hair the exact same too, man. Like, there's no differentiation. But he was standing outside, and we were talking about like all the changes and everything. He was like, I'm just stoked the bathroom door locks now. like that was what he was most excited
You got
about.
to take
man.
care of business at Andy's, man. You need your privacy.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be Well, man, I'm excited to see y'all show. I always love your performances. It'll be the first time that I'll have seen you, and it's gonna be a good time. So once again, I'm gonna say it for probably the fourth, fifth time. I don't even know. Make sure you guys go on March 31st, this Friday. Go to Andy's, check out Jambunctious, see the rest of the bands, get out there and see some local music. It's a fantastic town. Once again, guys,
Thank you again, my man.
so much for being here.
Absolutely.
It's been a fantastic time. Now, if y'all are wondering, what was I watching? I just tuned in. Well, this is a little program that we call Sound Values, and every single Monday night from 7 to 8, we bring in local musicians, local bands, local producers. I'm actually going to start talking to booking agents as well. And if there are any female artists out there watching, I realized recently that I've been running a very male-centric show, and I've had
2017,
Jesse.
man. Come on.
I know. I'm going to start getting in trouble. I've had Jesse Fry, Danielle Longville, but that's it. So if anybody, the reason is I don't know anyone from Pearl Earl and the other female-led bands in this town. So if you're out there and you're hearing, shoot me an email, hit me up on Facebook, send me a message. I want to talk to y'all and get the perspective of what it's like to be a female in the industry
Throw
in this
a brick
town.
with a note on it.
Yeah,
through
throw
the
it right
window.
here. Please, don't do that. Just send me a message on Facebook. All
A
right.
brick with a note is the
You can
most
throw
sure
a brick
way.
through my window, but not this window. All right. I might actually find that kind of cool and edgy if that happened to me.
So you like seeing anybody?
yeah.
I noticed my car tires are slashed too.
I like that.
Now you got my attention.
Yeah, so y'all can tune in, check stuff out. Like I said, if there's anybody out there watching the show, you've got a band you'd like to be on, want to talk, please let me know. If you've got a show, hit me up. I'm always out and about, pretty much 24 hours a day. We'll go 8 days a week, basically. So tune in. Next show, I still don't know who it is. I'm trying to get a hold of people. I'm hoping that it's going to be Demar. So Demar should be able to show up, and we'll be talking to him. But we'll keep making moves. So hopefully next Monday from 7 to 8, we'll be seeing Demar, who is part of Baconomics, formerly a part of Wax Logic, and just an all-around cool, down-to-earth guy.
He's a super nice dude.
Yeah, he also does the best hard flips that you'll see on Facebook on his skateboard. That guy's got some skill. So we'll have him. Now on Sundays, you can check out my show Sunday Brunch, which goes from 1 to 2 p.m., where I play a bunch of original music that I've been working on. It's more of a DJ format as well. And then on Saturday mornings from 9:30 to 2, unfortunately, I will not be here. I'm going down to play my first show in Austin, which I'm super
fun, man.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy about that.
When you see Pflugerville, say hi.
I will. I will. Plowtown.
Yeah.
And our lovely Robin, she will be here running that show. So if you tune in that morning for Off the Record, she'll be playing all the records that I am going to give her. I was like, here, this is what you need to play that day. So it's everything from funk to rock to classical. Like I'll literally play like Beethoven, like, because I just feel like it, or I'm gonna play, I don't know, Manhattan jazz, which
That's
I can't.
your Sunday brunch.
Yeah, they're my shows, So make sure y'all tune in, have a good time. Once again, a big shout out to you guys and Jambunctious and all the other guys who are part of the crew. Once again, Dewey, we miss you, bro. We miss you. But we'll see you on Friday, man. So once again, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Y'all stay chill, and remember, Denton, tune in and chill out.